Okay, haven't done this. I've done one of these in a long, long time. I've been I've been working on an article about the sumo versus conventional deadlift versus meaning I'm not really pitting them against each other, but pros and cons and the differences, the muscles that they focus on the most, which stance works for what muscle and whatever. But I have been very busy with a couple of projects in the last 2 months. I don't even remember. It's 28th of March, I'm guessing. And I started this article in January and just never finished it. But I have promised myself that it will be out sometime in April. I can't really tell you when. But anyway, what bugs me is I see all these fucking comments on Instagram and LOL, do it conventional. LOL, do it conventional. Motherfucker, if he could do more weight conventional, he'd be pulling conventional, whoever that is. I'm not I'm not a sumo advocate. I'm a train everything advocate. I'm a huge fan of the conjugate method. I teach it. I wrote a fucking book about it last year. And you can check the links in the description regarding that. I'm not here to promote my book, not this time. I'm here to promote train everything. Why not? Say the same way if you have a big, you see some of these guys with the genetically have like a larger chest. I never had a very good chest. It was whatever. It took me years to develop it to not look as silly. Because my arms, the lockout. I first the heaviest bench I did in 14 or the most weight was close grip, and then I did it with like a couple of thumbs out of the smooth. It's getting very sunny. I don't know if you guys can see and what you can see. It's incredibly sunny here. But I don't mean to trail off. It's just all relevant. Like the same way I used to squat sumo. I used to have a pretty wide stance for a raw lifter because I used a single ply suit for about a month once. That's like 8 years ago. No, about almost 10 years ago now. So it was 13 or 14, and it was a closer stance, and I fucking suffered because I didn't know how to squat as heavy as I could. Close stance, it would just fold me forward. It was just bullshit. So I had to force myself to squat a little closer and closer, now to the point where my feet are at shoulder width or just slightly further past shoulder width. But I can do everything. That's what I mean. Like I train it all. I switch. I just go out a couple of inches every week. I come in. Like I do everything because I want to be strong everywhere. And also, I want to be able to. I want to make sure that I'm not gonna get injured. Anything goes wrong, it's covered. That's what I mean. So I switch to, much like I write in this article, which will come out eventually, and probably all eight of you are gonna read it. The reason why I switched to sumo, and I didn't have a channel back then, is because I hurt my back, and I hurt my back pretty bad. I've been sick for a few days, so bear with me. Up to 2015, I managed to pull 530 to 140 kg, 530 pounds conventional in competition in the 275 class. I was about 117 kg at the time. 115. I can't. You'll probably see that in the down below. It's about 250 pounds, something like that. I was strong. My back never had any back issues. No worries. Strong back, especially as a relatively beginning lifter. I had been doing that for 4 years back then. Just powerlifting though, it's not strength training, not bodybuilding. I was doing strictly powerlifting training for 4 years. That was my fourth year. I tweaked my back in October of 2015. Remember now, my best conventional pull. I'd never done sumo, ever tried sumo whatsoever. I thought, yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna do that. It just looked silly. Like, it was also hard. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I thought, yeah, that's gonna take a while for me to spread them, because you have to rebuild. And I'm not gonna just spread my legs for the first time and pull the same weight. It's just not possible. It's not possible for somebody who's specified. Now, if I was doing some other sport before, like fucking sumo or rugby, or where their legs are a little more spread and they're bent, maybe I would be able to. Just for my sport, I wasn't prepared for it. So I hurt my back, degeneration in three discs. in my lumbar spine. In three, not three. Did I say? Yeah, 3 discs. That's correct. Because if you see the X-ray, they're darker. They're not. They're slightly compressed. I've also lost height. I used to be about 6'2", around. Now I'm at about 6'1". In shoes, I'm 6'1". So constant pain, numbness in my left leg, depending on how it felt for the day. Sometimes, rarely, crippling pain. I just couldn't fucking put my shoes on. I couldn't work. I had to stop working. And I decided, well, I'm not going to stop lifting. And I'm not going to stop training because I didn't want to compete. I didn't want to stop competing. So I switched to sumo. And that took a lot of stress from my lumbar spine away. It just took it because, obviously you bend your legs more. There's less stress on your lumbar spine. There's less rounding as well. And at the same time, I have a belly, I have a gut. So, of course, I'm heavier now than I used to be. And that also is it's not a problem anymore. That's not in my way. Literally, it's not in the way of my thighs. It's just easier. So for me, if I'm competing for a powerlifting total, and my best, what is my best sumo right now? It's like 262 kilograms in competition last April. It's almost a year ago now, of the Tromara's Strength Challenge 2. And I did that. I got, because I was in the Masters category. I was 41, almost 41, 40 and a half, whatever. And I got Master of Sport in the deadlift after all that fucking trouble that I've been through. It was so, to me, it was a great moment, but I got a small PR to the squat and the bench as well. So I was very pleased. The point is, my conventional is never that far behind because I did bring it back in 2021. I thought, yeah, I'm going to start doing that again because when I moved back to Greece in 2019 and 20, I didn't know many people who compete in powerlifting. I didn't know the athletes. I didn't know that many. Still today, I don't know that many people. Although I go to the meets, I do talk to maybe 5-10 guys, but there's like 60, 70, 80 guys, 50. I don't not yet. It might take a few more years, but I will get to know more people as time goes by. But the point is that as soon as the pain lessened, it got away. It went away. It's a lot less, but it's still there. So the point is, I do love the fucking deadlift. It used to be my number one exercise that I love the most. Now it's the squat. It's the last 4 or 5 years. I'm like, fuck it, it's the squat. Love of my life. Of course, I was always a lower body guy. Like squat, deadlift, bench. That's my priority. That's I would die for my squat if that even makes sense. The squat is a 10. The deadlift is like a 9.5, and the bench is probably a 9 out of 10. I love to bench, but nothing compares to the bar on your back. To me, there's nothing that comes even close to that. So, I mean, if it gives me a bigger total, I'm gonna fucking deadlift sumo. It only makes sense. That doesn't mean that I don't train my conventional stance. And now that I'm gearing up for a contest in 2 months, end of May or beginning of June, depending on the election will happen, I will start dropping my conventional sets in between because if I did like 5 or 6 work, usually if I'm up to like 85%, I'm gonna do 5 sets, 6 tops, which is it's still a lot of work, doubles, triples. I thought, by the way, it's a lot of work, and like I said, I'm gonna be 42 in June. So I will throw a couple of conventional sets in there, no matter what. There's been whole sessions where I did just conventional because I love it, because it feels good to be able to do it. But still, my sumo is, I want to say, like max peak strength. I dare say it's 25 to 30 pounds heavier. It's not a huge difference though. Train both. Now, if you're a strongman, and I'm not a strongman expert, I never pretended to be one. I've competed in a couple of static monsters, and I did the circus strongman challenge experience. It's gonna be almost 2 years now. End of 21, winter of 21. And I fucking sucked in the running events, and I placed second in the deadlift because that's my thing. I don't run around with farmers walks implements. I don't run around with yokes. I don't own any of that shit, and I don't have it. I don't use it, and I can't. But also because of my back kills me. when I do that shit. I don't mean to trail off. I always trail because I got stories for days. I'm old. I'm getting old, so I'll always have stories somehow. Maybe it's a Greek thing. I don't know. The drama. We have the drama in our blood. But why not train both? If I was doing strongman, I swear, even if I was doing only strongman, I was healthy enough to do it at an amateur level. Obviously, I'm not that strong, right? I would still do some sumo sets in my training. I would still strengthen. It strengthens your quads. Your legs bend more in the sumo stance. I mean, if fucking Ed Cohen and Malanichev were doing it, and I think they've competed in both stances, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a powerlifting historian. I'm a huge fan of these people, and I do remember both competing in both stances. That says something. There's a reason why they did it. You know, you can peak for whatever stance you want, of course. But even if it's 5 fucking pounds in conventional or a sumo, I'm gonna take what's strongest. I'm not gonna be no. I'm gonna pull sumo because I want to fuck my total up. To me, that doesn't make sense. But you know, your adductors get stronger with a sumo stance. You get more explosive power when you train with your legs wider, and then you can bring them closer. The old man was Louis Simmons was talking about that shit fucking 30 years ago and 25 and 20 years ago. And a lot of people listened. The people who listened benefited from it. So all this stuff is gonna be in the article. It's I don't know how big it's gonna be, but I wanted to mention. I also wanted to make one of these videos because I haven't spoken on the camera for a long time. I cannot even remember. It was the last time I spoke. I just spoke in a video. I'm usually just training, and this week for me is a bit of a deload week. I'm at about 50% of my everything. Monday I didn't do anything because I had high fever. So I didn't, it was, you know, it wouldn't be nice if I just showed up in there because people are scared. I also have a little bit, I'm asthmatic, so but I had a little bit of cough, so I thought people were going to start freaking out. So I didn't do anything. Most likely, you know, this week I'm just going to chill, and next week I'm going to be doing some heavy stuff again. So, you know, that's the video. Train both stances. You know, I'm not saying go fucking super wide where your range of motion is 10 inches. I'm not saying that, or 5 inches, whatever that is. I'm saying train both. You know, just throw it in there. When the time comes to peak, you know, 2-3 months out or 2 months out, whatever, for if you're doing a strongman course, like I said, if you're stronger in conventional, then fine. You can leave it out for that. You know, as the specificity starts becoming more important, as you know, but you can throw it in there in a block periodization in the long term through the year. You can throw it in there, much like I throw conventional in there, because it destroys my spinal erectors, which is sweet. I mean, from a muscular standpoint, because it still hurts me quite a bit to do conventional. But if I'm doing like my deficits, I have never trained. I think I've trained once in sumo deficit. I really think so. I cannot even remember. My deficits, I force myself to do it conventional. It fucking sucks. And my form is not the greatest because my belly's still, I push my abs out, and I'm a fat ass, so I'm not pretending it's just muscular, because it isn't. So it's difficult, but I fucking do it because it will get me stronger. You get stronger from every angle. You will be stronger in everything as a whole, and also you will avoid injuries. You know what I mean? Like my erectors are not my weakest point anymore. They're not my weak point anymore. You know, I tore my adductor in 2015 in the factory. I was working in a factory, and I slipped, and I remember strongly. I almost tore it just bled, it bruised. Nothing crazy, but it didn't like snap off, but it was a muscle tear, and it took me through the whole year almost. And in 16, I'm pulling sumo, just to prove a point where, you know, like, you need to train it. You need to be trainable. You need to keep the elasticity in the muscle. You need to keep the blood in the tendons. And I'm not a doctor, but I think the tendons and the ligaments have about a third. I may be wrong about this, but I think the ligaments and the tendons have about a third of blood flow, blood circulation in them. So they cannot take as much blood as the muscle belly. So fucking train it. You know, keep it in a good situation. Be safe, and then you just don't fucking get hurt. It's just, you're not going to. You really have to be an idiot to injure yourself after that. Or you're trying to truly maximal weight in contest. That's fine. It's gonna happen. Hopefully not, but it does happen. That's my take on it. Train both stances, and I said like 5 times so far. Train both stances and reap the benefits in the long term. I'm full of dust. Subscribe to the channel. Check the links in the description. I got a lot of shit going on, and thanks for watching.